Have you ever felt like you were studying harder than everyone else, but remembering less when it mattered the most? That frustrating moment, right? Before an exam, when your mind suddenly feels blank, is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that your method needs to change. Most students believe that using flashcards simply means writing questions on one side and answers on the other, then flipping through them again and again, hoping something sticks. But hope is not a strategy, and repetition without intention is just wasted time. Real learning begins the moment you stop recognizing information and start recalling it from within, because your brain does not grow stronger by seeing the answer. It grows stronger by struggling to find it. This is where most people go wrong. They read the front of a card, hesitate for a second, then flip it over too quickly, convincing themselves that they knew it all along, but deep inside, nothing has truly changed. The illusion of knowledge is comfortable, but it is also dangerous because it tricks you into believing you are prepared when you are not. Imagine instead that every flashcard becomes a challenge, a moment where you pause, breathe, and force your mind to search when it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is not your enemy. It is the exact signal that learning is happening. When you sit with a question longer than you want to, you are building mental pathways that last far beyond the exam itself. The truth is that effective flashcard use is not about speed, it is about depth. It is about training your brain to retrieve information under pressure, just like you will have to do on test day. And the moment you begin to treat each card as a test rather than a note, everything begins to change. Your confidence grows, your memory sharpens, and your study time becomes more meaningful. Instead of endless hours of passive review, you step into active mastery, where every second counts and every effort moves you forward. Because the real secret was never the flashcard itself, it was always how you chose to use it. And once you understand that, you realize that studying smarter is not about doing more, it is about doing what truly works. And when you begin to apply this mindset consistently, something powerful starts to happen. Your fear of forgetting slowly fades away and is replaced by a quiet confidence that you can handle whatever appears in front of you on the exam paper, because you have trained your mind not just to recognize information but to own it deeply. This is the foundation of true understanding, and it begins with a simple decision to stop rushing and start thinking differently about how you learn. Every card becomes an opportunity, not just to remember, but to transform the way your brain works forever. And that is where real success quietly begins to take shape within you, long before the results. But just when you begin to feel confident with your flashcards, something unexpected happens. You notice that even though you remember certain answers today, they seem to fade away tomorrow. And this is the moment where most students fall into frustration, believing that they are forgetting too quickly, or that something is wrong with their memory, when in reality, nothing is broken at all. Your brain is simply following its natural pattern. It keeps what it needs and discards what it does not. Revisit. And this is where a deeper principle quietly changes everything. Spaced repetition is not just a technique. It is a way of aligning your study habits with how your brain is designed to work. Instead of reviewing everything at once and exhausting yourself, you begin to space your learning over time, returning to information right before it slips away. This timing is powerful because it strengthens your memory exactly when it is weakest, turning fragile knowledge into something solid and lasting. Yet this is also where the real challenge begins, because it requires patience, discipline, and trust. In a system that does not give instant results, you may sit there looking at a card you once knew perfectly and suddenly struggle to recall it, and in that moment doubt creeps in, making you question whether this method is actually working. But what feels like failure is actually progress in disguise, because every time you retrieve something that was almost forgotten, you are reinforcing it at a deeper level than simple repetition could ever achieve. And here lies the quiet suspense that most people never talk about. There will come a point in your journey where everything feels uncertain, where your progress seems invisible, and your effort feels unrewarded. This is the turning point where many give up and return to old habits that feel easier but lead nowhere. If you can push through this phase, if you can continue trusting the process, even when results are not immediately visible, something remarkable begins to unfold. Your recall becomes faster, your confidence becomes stronger, and the information starts to stay with you in a way that feels almost effortless. You are no longer cramming for an exam. You are building a memory system that works with you rather than against you. And this is where flashcards transform from a simple tool into a powerful strategy that reduces your study time while increasing AR retention dramatically, because you are no longer wasting energy on what you already know. You are focusing only on what needs your attention. And over time, this creates a sense of control that most students never experience, a calm, steady belief that you are prepared not by chance, but by design. And as this realization settles in, you begin to understand that success is not about last-minute effort. It is about consistent, intelligent practice that compounds quietly beneath the surface until the day you need it most. And when that day arrives, you are not relying on luck. You are relying on a system you have built with intention, patience, and unwavering focus. And that is what sets you apart in ways you never imagined. And as you move closer to your exam day, something shifts within you that is difficult to explain yet impossible to ignore. You begin to notice that studying no longer feels like a battle against time, but rather a quiet alignment between effort and understanding, where every flashcard you review carries purpose and direction. This is the stage where recall becomes second nature, where your mind responds with clarity instead of hesitation, and where confidence is no longer forced but naturally earned through consistent practice, because you have trained yourself not just to recognize information but to retrieve it under pressure. And this distinction changes everything. You walk into your study sessions with intention. You challenge yourself with each question, and you allow space for mistakes, knowing they are part of the strengthening process rather than signs of weakness. And slowly, the fear that once controlled your preparation begins to fade, replaced by a calm awareness that you are ready in a way that goes beyond surface-level memorization. Yet there is a final realization that brings everything together, a realization that many overlook, even after learning these methods: the true power of flashcards is not in the cards themselves, not in the system, not even in the repetition, but in the mindset you carry while using them. Because without focus, without honesty, and without the willingness to confront what you do not know, even the best techniques lose their impact. But when you approach each card with curiosity, when you embrace the moments of struggle instead of avoiding them, you unlock a level of learning that stays with you long after the exam is over. This is where growth becomes personal, where discipline shapes your habits, and where small daily actions lead to meaningful transformation over time. And as you sit there reflecting on your journey, you begin to understand that the real victory was never just passing the exam. It was becoming someone who knows how to learn effectively, someone who can take any subject, break it down, and master it with clarity and patience. And this awareness stays with you, influencing not just your academic life, but every challenge you face moving forward. Because once you learn how to train your mind in this way, you carry that skill into every area of your life. And that is what makes this process so powerful. It is not temporary. It is a foundation for AR, continuous improvement, and lasting confidence. So as you prepare for your next study session, remember that every flashcard is more than a question and answer. It is an opportunity to refine your thinking, strengthen your memory, and build a system that works for you rather than against you. And when you commit to this path fully, you begin to see results that feel almost inevitable, because you are no longer guessing. You are creating outcomes with intention and discipline and clarity. And if you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.